what it is that you've experienced. Only you know what it is, the things that you're going to, and the sins or the shortcomings that you have that you need forgiveness for. So Allah is saying, come to Salat. Come to Salat, and then come to success. Like this is success, and come to life. Not just like I'm living, I'm already alive, and so I'm breathing, but come to this life of true expression, of true worship. And then so from there, after we've come back to life, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. We're acknowledging again that Allah is greater because He's the only one that can give me this success. He's the only one that can bring me to this level of life. And then La ilaha illallah. So this is all in preparation. And this is the short version. This is all in preparation of getting yourself ready for prayer, making the wudu, calling the adhan. And we know that the ikama is, it's a slight change, and also the adhan for Fajr, there's a slight change. So let's get into this. So Salat and the spiritual connection. So for many of us, as new Muslims, sometimes you're just trying to get the basics down. You want to just know, what do I say? Can I say the prayer in my native language? Do I have to say it in Arabic because I don't know Arabic? And so sometimes it creates this thing of where I don't want to go in here and do it wrong, so I'm not going to do it. I know that I should be praying, but I don't know how to properly say prayer, and I don't want Allah to fault me, or I don't want that to be held against me because I'm not saying the prayer the way that I think that I should be praying, or the way that everyone else is praying. And so we put this extra burden on ourselves where matters are judged by intention. If you get out there and you pray as you know how, if all you're doing in the first however long it takes you, if all you're doing is going through the motions, Allah's going to bless you for that. Allah's not going to say, well, this person didn't even try. There are tons of people, tons of Muslims who can recite the Quran back and forth that don't say prayer. So for the person who says prayer and doesn't know anything in the prayer, you're making an effort. So don't beat yourself on that. But know that there's something that you have to learn. And so when we talk about the prayer, the spiritual connection, so the verse we're looking at is 29 and 45. So it says, recite what has been revealed to you of the book and establish prayer. Indeed, genuine prayer should deter one from indecency and wickedness. The remembrance of Allah is an even greater deterrent, and Allah fully knows what you all do. So we think about just think about the times of prayer. It's in the morning, early morning. It's in the later in the afternoon and late into the afternoon, evening, nighttime. So these times are like if we just go through our day and we think about, okay, well, I wake up in the morning and I'm concerned how my day is going to go. I'm concerned if my day is going to be good, if my day is going to be bad, but I have to wake up for prayer. So now I'm engaging with Allah. Now I have this kind of assurance, like all the kids want to hug from their parents before they leave the house. They all want to kiss on the forehead and a pat on the back and say everything is going to be okay. So if I get up and I talk to my Creator, this is what I'm leaving the house with. This is what I'm waking up with. And so now I journey through the day. My day goes on. Maybe my boss isn't doing whatever. Maybe my spouse is doing something. My kids are doing something. And I'm stressed out. At the high point of the day, I'm hungry. I'm angry. But I know I have to go back and talk to Allah. I know that it's time for me to go and pray. So I do all the steps with my wudu, where I'm actually thinking that I'm cleansing my actions. I'm cleansing my mouth, the things that I said, the things that I heard, the thoughts, the places that I've gone. I'm cleansing all these things, and I'm making prayer at the height of the day. So whatever was bothering me from that first time when I got that first hug from Allah to this next prayer, now I'm ready to go and attack the day again. And so now my day goes on. I leave there. I finish lunch up, and I'm going back through my day, and everybody else has had enough time for things to affect them, and they don't have the same resources that we have in prayer. And so everybody's anxious and doing all these things. And it's time for me to get off work. It's time for the kids to come back home from school. And they stressing me out. And I've been doing all these things around the house, and they tearing things up, and they're running crazy, and I just need a break. But here comes Asr. Allah is saying, come on back over here. I know it's stressful for you. Like you don't have to wait Friday to Friday. Like, come back over here and come rejuvenate yourself in prayer. So now I have my Asr prayer. And so now everybody's back home. I'm back home. Maybe me and the wife, me and the husband had a disagreement. Maybe something's going on. Maybe you got a call from a family member that was stressful. Maybe the kids are still acting crazy. And the weight of everything that you had going on that day is still weighing on you, because you're now thinking about what I have to do tomorrow. I don't have enough time in the day. Here comes Maghrib. Now you pray again. Now you have this opportunity to go back to Allah, to give Him everything that happened to you. Like, we don't have to think about this whole day. I just need to talk to Allah about what happened from the last prayer. Like, hey, Allah, man, from after Dhuhr, it sucked. It was hard for me. Like, it was bad for me. So now that I'm in Asr, let me pray and talk to you about that. Like, just let me get to Maghrib. Like, we don't have to. Don't think that you have to pray these things like, give me a good year. Pray that. But just know that you can also, hey, just help me get to the next prayer. Let me get to the next prayer. Let me get these tiny victories, so that I'm not like stressing myself over time. And so after the Maghrib, you're laying down. You're thinking about everything, and just like the kid wants to get a kiss on the forehead before they go out the door, they want to get tucked in the bed. They want to be told that, hey, you did good today. Yeah, you had some stress. Yeah, you had some struggles, but you did good today, and you're going to be good tomorrow. And I'm going to be here for you tomorrow when you get up. So we make the Isha prayer, and then we go to sleep. Or maybe we went to sleep and we wake up for the Isha prayer. Whatever it works out. And there are additional prayers within, that can be made throughout the day, but those are the ones that are mandatory. Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Those are the mandatory prayers. But it's a blessing. Allah is giving you something that is, if you do them, is going to help you achieve paradise. It's mandatory for you to do it. So he's telling you, go to paradise. Like, he's saying you need to go to paradise because he made praying mandatory. He made these prayers mandatory for you. Not like, hey, you got an option. You do what you want. And then if we even just go to if we go back to the story of the ascension of the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he went all the different stages, and then when he got to, after he came back and he was talking to the Prophet Musa, and he kept telling him to go back, because initially it was 50 prayers. And he said, no, go back. And then he came back and it was 40. And he said, go back. And he came back and it was 30. And it got down to 5. And he was going to tell him to go back. But he didn't want to, the Prophet, peace be upon him, didn't want to go back and go to Allah and ask for less. But he said that Allah is going to give him the weight of 10 prayers for each prayer. So if prayer itself is mandatory and it will get you into paradise, but it has the weight of 10, like, Allah wants you to be successful. So when he says, So when we say in the Adhan, Hayal al Falah, come to success, like it's telling you come to success, come to prayer, because this is going to be the success that you need. But it also covers you from immorality and wrong deeds. So in this verse 2:45, it says, "And seek through patience and prayer, and indeed it is difficult except for the humbly submissive to Allah." And this is one that, and this is this first part in which you hear a lot. Seek help through patience and prayer. And it's not that there has to be this grand picture of help. It doesn't have to be like this major turmoil that I'm experiencing. It may just be that I'm in line and I'm trying not to lose it on this person in front of me and they'll stop backing into me. Or the person that won't stop standing so close to me. Like I have to seek help. Like Allah, help me for myself. Help me from myself from responding in a way that's not best. And so I'm being patient. With patience and prayer. And so this idea of patience and prayer it involves faith. It involves faith, because if I'm praying and I'm anxious, if I'm praying and I'm arrogant, I think that this prayer should be answered right now because I prayed it. Like I'm somebody. It's the Quran says you can't match the mountains in height. You're like the earth is not going to crumble under your feet. So you're approaching these prayers arrogantly, like Allah. Hey, I made Fajr this morning. I prayed Dhuhr. I prayed all my 5 prayers. I was fasting during Ramadan, and I need your help. This is the prayer I need answered right now. And when it doesn't happen, now you're mad at Allah again because He didn't answer it for you in the time that you thought that you should, because you didn't have a humble, submissive spirit to Allah. You weren't humble. You weren't humble that Allah knows what's best for us. And maybe what's best for us may not be what feels best for us. May not be what experience for us. Assalamu alaikum. It may not be what is immediately necessary. So when He says this patience in prayer, it's having faith that Allah still has the capacity, if it was in His will to fulfill that specific thing for you. Allah has the capacity for that. And we can see that in what He's done for others. We can see that in what He's done with creation. That it's not always about us. It's not always about us. It's not always about the fulfilling of my personal needs. I may have to be hungry tonight because my kids need to eat. My prayer may be that, Allah give me some food, but He may only give me food for my kids. So what do I do? Do I get mad at Allah? Or do I say, thank you for feeding my kids? Thank you for feeding my descendants. Thank you for at least giving us a house to be hungry in. At least give us an opportunity. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to know who this food come from. And know the proper way of worship and when to worship so that we can achieve paradise. So this is having that humble, submissive spirit to Allah. And the submissiveness comes in, we always talk about, the will of Allah. And when I was a kid, your mind is like, all over the place. I'm like, why has Allah got a wheel? I'm thinking like a tire, like a round wheel. And then as I got a little bit older, I'm like, oh, why has Allah got to write a wheel like when you die? Like that's not it. But it's like the will, the decision to do something. Like the capacity to do something. Like the will of Allah. Like what Allah wants to do. Man, and being submissive to that. And not just what Allah wants to do, but what Allah wants you to do. What Allah wants you to do, because it's not for your detriment. He made prayer, and that's all you have to look at. If you don't look at anything else about how Allah cared for you, He made something that is going to cause you to achieve paradise mandatory. Like, who does that? Like, this is good for you. This is going to get you to paradise. So prayer is mandatory. And the next one, it says, recite, O Muhammad, what has been revealed to you of the book and establish prayer. Indeed, prayer prohibits immorality, wrongdoing, and the remembrance of Allah is greater, and Allah knows that which you do. So it goes back to this idea of establishing prayer. You know, establishing, so this idea, this concept of establishing something. It's like if I establish a tradition. You know, if I establish an identity, if I establish what something is supposed to be long term, not just this short thing, but I've established it, and it is known by me that this is what I do. It is known by others that this is what I do. Like, I'm establishing it as just as I establish the time that I go to work. Like the boss established the time for me to start. They established when they play that music outside at 06:30. That is an established tradition. And everybody knows that when reveille goes off, everybody needs to be in position of attention and go to present arms. That is an established tradition no matter where you go. You go to any military installation, it is an established tradition. So what is prayer for us? It says establish prayer. Like, do I know that at every time that it's prayer time, and we know the discussion from the hadith regarding prayer time, that there was a man who came to visit the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he wanted to know, at what time do I pray? And so one day, the first day he prayed right when the prayer came in. And then the next day he prayed right before the next prayer came in, right before that prayer went out. And the man was like, well, I came in to ask you, when should I pray? When do I make my prayers? And he said, from this time to this time. Like from the time when it starts to the time that it's in, that prayer is on time. So this is a mercy for us as well. But it says establish prayer. So it's everywhere that we go. Every location that I'm in. And it's prayer time. Whatever that window is for you. Do I establish my prayer? Is that a known fact? Do people know that about me? That, oh, well, he's getting ready to go say prayer. Or he's getting ready to go do this. They're looking at their watch. Or, well, it's prayer time. What are you doing? Why are you still here? Like, this is when it says establish prayer. Not just like it's something that I'm going to do because I'm around other Muslims and they're praying. But it's something that I do on my own. Something that I do that should come naturally for me. And just as people know that I like to wear blue tennis shoes, or just as people know that I like to wear a certain hat, or I cheer for a certain team, they know that I'm Muslim. And they know that when prayer time happens, I'm going to pray. But it's all to keep you from immorality and wrongdoing. Because just think about it. So when Ramadan comes, we're all like super Muslim. Everybody's like super holy. Abdul cool. Like we're at the top of the food chain as Muslims go. And then it may be a month off. If not sooner. We're back to our old ways. We're back to doing our old things. And so that's just Ramadan. But just imagine, from Fajr, I'm just leaving Fajr. If I'm looking at Fajr as Ramadan, I'm just leaving Fajr. And I know in my mind, like, man, well, I just got finished praying. Well, I need to stop doing this stupid stuff. I need to make sure that I'm doing the right thing as I'm leaving Fajr. And just the way we start preparing for Ramadan, the way we start cleaning the house up, and we start buying all these things and start, getting our good Quran down and all this other stuff, this is dua coming up. So if I'm constantly thinking that I'm leaving prayer and I'm going to another prayer, my behavior in between that time period should be different. But it only happens if I establish my prayer. If my prayer is not established, then I don't know if I'm going to say the next prayer or not. I might make Asr. I might make Asr on time. So there's nothing that's putting a check on my behavior. It's like Ramadan, we know when it's coming. Everybody's got they're arguing about when the moon or how they're going to look at the moon. All these things happen, but people know when it's coming. You know when prayer is coming. So our behavior should be either, I'm just leaving prayer. No, I can't do that. I just got out of prayer. Or I'm getting ready to go to prayer. So it protects me in between that space, and Allah made that every single day mandatory. So all those things that we think are the little habits that we can't get over, the little things that if I could just get rid of this, I'd be a good Muslim. If we focus on it from one prayer to the next prayer, that I'm either leaving prayer, I'm getting to the next prayer, then our behavior is going to change. And then those things will move away. And so, I don't want to take away from Habib when he comes and gives his talk on the components of prayer. But they're different. They're different things, So I like to look at things conceptually. The only time that I can recite the word of Allah in my prayer is when I'm standing straight up. Is when I'm upright. That is the only time. I don't have there's no bend in my body. There's not doing anything different. The only time when I say Al-Fatiha, when I do another surah, I'm upright. I'm focused. I'm intent. It's not there's my body position should be like my character. It should be upright. Like they talk about the Hanif nature. Like it should be upright. Like there's a certain way that I have to be to recite the Quran. And so when I go to my next move, if I got things that are weighing on me, things are sitting on me and it's heavy, and I'm here, what's following you falls off. Like this is like my intro into submission. I'm moving into a form of submission because like I can just like you go to China somewhere and you like hey, how you doing, and you're doing a little small bow, but out of courtesy. But it's not like I'm submitting. It's just something because you're doing it. I'm doing it. But this is like we're moving into this idea of submission. But these things that are on my shoulder, I'm letting them drop off, and then I come back up to this upright nature, and then I go to the floor and I put my face on the ground, and so this is I always look at this as like it's the beauty of prayer. So we do it twice. Like it's okay. Everybody in their mind, like if somebody tell you to do something, you stop. But then they jump and you jump again. So Allah is making you go back down to the ground. Like you've got to go back to, like you may have said, okay, well I submit, I'm down here in sajda once, and then I come back up. For some of us we're like, okay, well yeah, I submit, I did it, But Allah says, nah, get back down there, do it again. If you like do it again, show me it's real. Like get back down there and go back into sajda. Like so it's this thing of where it's real submission. Not just I'm doing it once, but then I have to get back. But I don't recite the Quran down there. I'm giving Allah His accolades. I'm showing my appreciation. Like where my neck is exposed. Like where I'm down, where I'm completely submitted. But then I have to stand back up. I have to go back to my upright nature. After I've shown my submission to Allah, I've got to go back to my upright nature. And that's the only time that I recite the Quran. That's the only time that I'm reciting the word of Allah, when I'm upright. And that's our life. That should be how we move through life, where when I should stay in this upright mindset, and my words should be, they may not be the Quran, but they should be based in it. My good nature, the way I talk to people, the way that I speak, it should have some kind of a quality to it where it's not negative, and I may have to submit. A lot of this that was a strong run. I'm tired. I'm tired, Allah. You know, I'm tired. Like when you go running, you're tired, you put your hands on your knees and you can't breathe because you're trying to catch your breath. You know, you know, you just talk about how the, you know, if they recited the Quran, if Allah recited the Quran on the mountain, it would crumble. I just got finished reciting the Quran, so now I'm sitting here trying to catch my breath, and I got to get back up. And now I got to submit. Like, yeah, you had me, Allah. You know, and so it's, and it's life, and that's how it goes. Like, yeah, I got to submit. Like, Allah, you the only one that can help me with this. And that submission is going to say the next prayer. That submission is that established prayer. Like I went through my day, and maybe I was upright because I was thinking I'm just coming out of Fajr. And then it got a little heavy. I had to stop catching my breath. Now I got to get back together because I'm going in the door. I'm getting ready for door. And then I'm submission. Now I'm making sajda. Now I'm showing my appreciation to my Creator for allowing me to get there, for making it mandatory upon me to do that, so that I can achieve paradise. And that's what the end goal is. And so it says, when you have finished Salat, remember Allah standing, sitting, down, lying, on your sides. But when you're free from danger, perform Salat. Verily the prayer is enjoined on believers at fixed hours. So for the service member, this is your verse. They got me in the motor pool. I can't say prayer. I'm on this Humvee. I can't say prayer. I can't. They won't let me get some time to myself to go pray. But PMCS, what we doing half the time? Half the time on Monday, we sitting in the vehicle playing on our phone, walking around, standing around, doing something. You can say your prayer standing. You can say your prayer sitting down. If you're in your bunk, if you're in basic training, and you don't feel comfortable to make your prayer, you can pray it on your side. But it says, when you are free from danger, and danger comes in, danger isn't always a knife in your back or a gun to your head, but when you're free from, and danger is going to be subjective to you. You're going to know what your perspective of danger is. Your danger for you may not be the same for me. My job is to go out and be an imam, a chaplain. Your job may just be to work in the motor pool. Doesn't take anything away from your job, but I have a different expectation than people have on me. So I may feel more free to do that. You may feel that, okay, well, I can't do this in the motor pool because my peers are going to make fun, or they're going to do this, or they're going to harass me. But Allah gives you this space in this verse to where you can pray sitting. He still wants you to be successful. But when you're free from danger, then you can go back to it. And there's still, and we can discuss that at another point. There's still different things. There's the fear prayer. There's different things that Allah has put in the religion. But sometimes the thing that we hold ourselves back is because we don't have the information or the knowledge. And so we create hardships for ourselves, because every time that we prayed up until now may have been in the perfect environment. It may have been in a masjid. It may have been with the family. It may have been in a place where everybody was accepting of what you were doing. And so now you don't know anything outside of that. And you don't know what the Quran allows for, because you never had to. It's not something like, you don't know what you don't know until you find out you don't know it. Like, you didn't know that you may not have known that the Quran said that I can pray sitting down. But you go to the masjid and you see all the brothers, with the busted legs. Or you might see a couple of sisters that may have babies that are sitting down praying in the masjid. Or you may see somebody on the airplane or somebody on the bus doing, what are they doing? Or you may see somebody just standing there. Like, you could just be standing on the side of the building. Not doing all your stuff, because it may make you feel uncomfortable. But your ultimate responsibility is to make that prayer. Like that we don't have a break from. Like when I put in the thing, like we don't have a 4-day, like we don't have a Don's on Fridays. You know what I'm saying? Like we got a scheduled activity. It's to pray. And every day we've got an obligation to make our 5 prayers. So that's on the slide deck. So just real quick. So I just want to kind of get a feel for like what kind of challenges have y'all had with making prayer? Like what's some challenges that y'all have? Anybody? Time. Time for accommodation for prayer.
I do work in the motor pool, so stuff like that you're saying, and I feel like there's not really an area to it. It's like just like the bay and the washes and the rooms is not as clean. They like with like the air. Right. I feel like there's no use like trying to find a place in time.
Right. So the two things that have come up with the place and time. Anybody else?
Serious.
Very well.
Mine is I work in the motor pool, but our motor pool is kind of big, so we have some space. Bigger office, but our work is doing PT. So in the morning, so right now, look like we're praying around 6:40. We are so formation is at 6:30, so we just go there and we gotta start PT, and you like I have to leave, go pray and come back, so it's kind of weird. So I don't know what to do in this case.
Yes, so that's those are all good considerations. So so the earth, like we can pray anywhere on the earth. You know, some bathrooms and cemeteries. You know, like so. And I may not have a prayer rug, but I got my top. I got my PC. You know, if I'm that concerned about it, if I don't have nothing, if all I got is the ground, I'm still gonna pray. You know, because it's you know, there's this expectation of what we're used. There's what we've been used to. Like we may have been used to a masjid, a clean, mopped up floor, this and that. We may have been used to having a prayer rug, but we might not. But that doesn't remove our obligation. You know, and if I'm free from like these external kind of self-imposed dangers of what people are going to say, like if the concern is the environment, not the people, then you know, then that may be something I work out. If the concern is the people, then that may be when I'm sitting down. That may be when I'm just standing somewhere on the side of the building and saying my prayer. But it's also when we deal with like prayer like during PT time. A lot of times, what I have found, I get calls from commanders and sergeants from around the post that they have a soldier that says they need an hour and a half to make fajr. Like an hour and a half to make fajr. Like, what kind of mess is that? Like, that's the shortest prayer. You know, like you don't need an hour and a half to make fajr. So when you got one soldier coming saying, I need an hour and a half to make fajr, everybody's like, no, that don't make no sense. You know, why am I going to let this person out of PT? And then, if you're not good at PT, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't pass the run, you can't pass the push-up, you can't pass your PT, and now you're saying you got to miss because you got to make prayer. You know, so you're creating a troubling dynamic for yourself, where you know where we're one, and then you're not full on Muslim all throughout the day. You don't regularly establish prayer. Your character is off. So when you come at them like, you know, I want to say prayer, but you out here cussing with somebody, you might be out drinking with somebody, and now they're like, well, this person's just making something up. But then they need an hour and a half to pray Fajr, but you ain't even going to Juma on Friday. You know, like these are all the inconsistencies that create problems, and it might not be your like your situation, but it's having that conversation with your line leader. You know, having that conversation with the squad leader. Like don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm Muslim. This is how we pray. Here is a copy of the prayer schedule for Kaleem. So if you see it's going to start this time and it might change throughout the year, I want to give this to you in advance so you can know these are the times that I need to go for prayer. And so then they can make, then y'all have a place to work from. Because a lot of times it's just, you tell them I need this time, I need an hour, and then you're like, oh, well, they stay off post. And some people like, you know, want to, alhamdulillah, read the Quran. But some people I like to read the Quran before I make Fajr. And I do this, like when we pray and we reading the Quran, you know what I'm saying? Like read the Quran, and you can read the Quran, but if we're talking about what's mandatory and you have an obligation for your job, you know, like you may have to just bring your Quran and read it during the lunch hour. You know, like you may have to make, like there's some adjustments that you have to make. It's not saying that you have to be any less Muslim or be Muslim in a different way, but there are some, you have multiple obligations. So it's just figuring out like how do you navigate that, and the best practice is to be upfront with everybody. Like here's like the Kaleem Masjid, they push out a monthly prayer schedule. You can download that, print it up, give it to your line leader, say, hey, these are the times I have prayer. It's only going to take me about 10 minutes because I'm going to come to PT already made wudu. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't have to go looking around. I'm gonna make wudu before I get there. And if I don't have anything, I'm gonna bring a bottle of water. When I was in Iraq, that's all I did. I had a bottle of water, and I used the same bottle of water probably 3 days straight. Because you don't need to wash the floor when you make wudu. You just need enough to get what you're doing done. But bring some water, a water source with you. Make wudu. Go just like I'm gonna go stand right here and make my prayer. And if you want to go through the full motion, do that. If all you are, you know, if all you can do is stand or sit, you know, based on the Quran and say your prayer, then do that. But you don't have to go, you know, across town. You don't have to go all the way. It doesn't take that long to get those things done. But it's still your obligation. And it said, and that's part of the other thing, where we will make dur. You know, do what your understanding can stand. Like, you know, do what your rank can stand. We will make dur right before.